Good afternoon and welcome to the Chartreuse Leprechaun for an impromptu semi-unboxing and reboxing. Yeah, I think we can call it that. Because today we are going to hopefully fix this case. And no hate for the wiring. I understand cable management is not my thing. I'm terrible at it, as clearly you can see. But we're going to take that stock AMD cooler out and put in this awesome push-pull fan cooler over here that is copper base plate, so it's got the direct connect going on. That will help with the cooling immensely, I'm sure. And then we have two 120 millimeter, wait a minute, there we go, ow, two 120 millimeter Noctua fans, PF12s. Yeah, those are going to go up here in this portion of the case in the top rack. And then we have two 140 millimeter fans that are going to go right here in the side panel. I may actually only do one of those. I'm not sure if there's going to be enough room. We'll see. We'll see. But that is our plan for fixing the cooling on this. But unfortunately, to do all of that, I have to take this thing apart and then put it all back together again after I have put the new cooler on. Yeah, this will be fun. Also, for the record, I would not turn down a mod mat at this point, someplace to keep the screws that I'm taking out of here to keep them in order so I don't lose any. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm actually pretty surprised at how easily these Noctua fans are going into place. I really expected them to be much harder. Now, on the other side of this, we're not actually going to hook up these new fans today. I'm still waiting for the splitters to get here, but I wanted to take care of the boxing, the reboxing. Well, post-production Mark here. What I called the unboxing was, of course, getting everything out of the boxes it shipped in, which I probably should have done on camera. Yeah, oops, I'm still learning all this stuff, obviously. But the reboxing is putting everything in the case, of course, being the new box. The plan is to do all this stuff in stages. We're going to do the CPU cooler first, see what effect that has. Then we're going to get the splitters here. We're going to put the case fans in, see what effect that has. Oh, and by the way, this is our high-tech workbench. Yeah, we're doing good. We'll bring the motherboard back onto this pillowcase when we get ready to do the CPU cooler, and we'll move the case and everything over onto that towel, and then we'll bring it all back over here and put it back together again. I really need a mod mat. Okay, and there we are, all four fans properly, installed. The one thing you need to be careful of is which way your fans are blowing. You'll note that this side is that was not supposed to happen. You'll note that this side has the spindle on it, and that side does not. That's because this side is the intake side, and this side is the exhaust side. So, with the side panel fans, we're blowing air into the case. And with the top fans, we're blowing air out of the case, hence the different positioning. Now, the thing I really enjoyed about this case, I think I said it once somewhere or another, it had positive airflow. It has two built-in front fans to blow air in. One of them's back here, one of them is in here. And then it has a small fan back here, and then of course you had the CPU fan, which you can't see because, you know, I took the motherboard out. The nice thing about this is I actually increased positive airflow because while I matched intake to outtake, the intake is 140 millimeter fan, so there's more airflow coming in than the 120 millimeter fans are taking out. So again, more positive air pressure. Okay, so we got all of the thermal paste off our CPU, and now we are putting the brackets on for our new cooler unit. Now what you have to do, you take your existing mounting bracket, you put these spacers on there. Whoops, put the spacers on there. Maybe I should put anti-stick-em on my fingers. Yeah, and then these long screws go through here and they bolt into, should thread into, yes they do. And we're going to sink those threads just enough so that we can then get, yeah, there we go, get a screwdriver on them and tighten them down all the way so that we can then put our cooler in place. And for those of you who have wondered, this is how you do it one-handed with one hand that just kind of does this kind of thing. So yeah, it can be done. You can assemble, you can upgrade, you can repair, you can do a lot of things one-handed. One-handed instead of two-hand, maybe 1.5, 1.25, something like that. Went a little heavy on that first stripe of thermal paste, and that should just about do it. Now I have to admit I was concerned because of the size of this thing and putting 2 fans on it about it being stable, but look at that. Not a bit of wiggle. That's nice. That's very nice. Alright, so now we got to take these clips, hook them to these fans, and put one pushing and one pulling, and we want the airflow to go this way towards the back of the case. Okay, well, it took me a few tries and some finagling because I kept trying to put the clips on wrong and install them backwards and make sure the fan was upside down and a couple of other things along the way. But we got it. We got it. We got the dampeners in place. We got the clips in place. And we have a push-pull cooler system on our CPU that's going to move about 50% more air through that, and with the direct contact of the copper plating we should get much better heat transfer and therefore better cooling during rendering and everything else, because it's still way too high. But we'll cover that in a more in-depth video later. Well, the good news is it all fits. The bad news is it doesn't fit with those 120 millimeter fans in the top. There was just no way to get it in there. And of course, I found this out after a whole cycle of literally removing darn near everything. I had to take the power supply to get the board back in. Then I had to take it all back out because I forgot to put the CPU power plug in before I put the motherboard back in. And it was already tight before, but you can get a pretty good picture of how tight it is trying to get that in there. Let's get a little more light. Yeah, imagine trying to get your hand in there. That was not possible. So we had to take it all back apart, put that in, and then put it all back together again. It's been great fun. Okay, and there you have it, completely back together other than those 2 top fans, which I'm going to have to mount from the outside apparently. That should be interesting, but hey, there's worse things to have to deal with, right? Anyway, there it is, cable managed even, or at least a lot better than it was. I'm still got a ways to go, but we're looking better. We're looking better. Well, there you have it. We got our almost 10 degrees in idle temperature drop. That is cool. A little higher on the power draw, interestingly enough. I think I have to reset the defaults, but yeah, we got our 10 degrees with that new CPU cooler. I am happy. Very, very happy. Well, as you can see, the temperature has dropped another, 1.5 to 2 C with those new fans installed, so that's a plus. We did gain some ground. We did have to do a few unusual things. We only have one fan installed here because the CPU cooler gets in the way of the other fan, and I'm just not going to get a low profile one. You can see how slow that one is spinning, so it's really nice. Now, the downside is the cooler is in there in such a way I decided not to remove it and not to install the internal fan. I put it on the outside. Fortunately, that low profile fan came with these vibration inhibitors, and we were able to mount this pretty solidly to the case. So that's actually working out for us, and you can see that one's spinning nicely, and it is actually putting out warm air. And you can clearly hear the noise difference. So, well, the new case fans did not make a big difference at idle in terms of temperatures, and I mean, yeah, let's be honest. You saw it in the video, 1 to 2C. It's really not that much at idle. Higher temperatures now, that's another story, or at least that's what I think. And frankly, it's really what I expected. I didn't expect a lot at idle. Still pretty pleased with the result. It got better. Better is always good, right? Gaming, on the other hand. Now, I tried a couple of different games, and I couldn't get the temps out of the upper 30s. We were looking at 40 to 45 before, so nice win on that front. And rendering. Oh my goodness, rendering. I couldn't get it to go above 65 while rendering. Oh, that's a huge win. That's a huge win. This little tech exercise of ours, at least this time, the last one when we rebuilt that GPU, not so much. But this one, big benefits. Big benefits. It was definitely a big learning experience. There's no question of that. I did stuff I've never done before, fans, undervolting, all of that. Dealt with a bunch of things I've never had to deal with before, like oversized CPU coolers and case fans not getting along with each other. Yeah, but we got it all to work. We got it all to work. And between the undervolting, the new CPU cooler, the new case fans, we solved all the cooling issues. I got to put my computer case completely together, side panels and all, for the first time in months. Months! Now, the noise level, I should be able to play with the fan settings and solve at least some of that noise because, well, we're not getting into the 70s, so I don't need the fans to go all the way up, so I can bring those down. Hopefully that'll fix some of that. So I will take all those wins. I will absolutely take all those wins. The Leprechaun quite obviously tried to mess this up and succeeded for a while. I mean, let's face it, the temps, the crashes, but he failed. His efforts failed. Doesn't mean he won't try again. In fact, it probably means, well, no, it absolutely means he's going to try again. And what he does to me, he will try to do to you too. So consider yourself warned. Keep your eyes open. And do me a favor, if you like what you see here, hit that like button, subscribe, all those wonderful things to keep the YouTube algorithm happy. And always, always, always remember, if you see it and you can't quite explain it, you can be sure the Leprechaun did it. Now, you have yourselves a great day, a great week, and we will see you here next time on the Chartreuse Leprechaun. Bye-bye.